People always ask me, how do you memorize all of that? And the truth is, the first girl I ever kissed tasted like tomatoes. I know this because the second girl I ever kissed tasted like pepper. It wasn't unpleasant, it's just that I was expecting tomatoes. When I was a kid, I was fascinated by space and learned that time slows near a black hole. Inside a black hole, time stops altogether. Whether or not this theory will ever be proved, I am moved to believe this would be the perfect place to love someone. I remember it because the next day I asked a girl if I could borrow a pen. When I offered it back, she said, "You should write me a letter with it first." So I did. Wrote her a note, which the teacher then intercepted and read to the class. It was something we'd learned in science that day about the way gravity affects mass and weight in relation to how quickly something will fall. Example: a crumpled ball of paper will fall at the same speed as a boulder of granite. It doesn't matter how much something weighs, it stays the same until you consider surface area and resistance, at which point the persistence of gravity loses force. Example: crumple a piece of paper into a ball. It will fall faster than a loose sheet. They are both composed of the same mass and weight, so you'd think that the rate of velocity measured with the force of gravity would cause each to fall at the same speed. But that's when you need to consider that the greatest surface area of a loose sheet adds resistance. So the crumpled ball will fall quickly, but the loose sheet will slowly float. I wrote a note explaining that when two people are falling for each other, they do so at the same speed. There's no need to factor in the physics. Explanations are something we can make no use of. Einstein said, gravity won't be held responsible for people falling in love. I wrote her a note telling her, if I fall in love with you, no one will ever be able to explain it. And I think that's beautiful. Despite the class laughing, she did as well, which is how I can tell you that I then knew and now still know she tasted like tomatoes. I don't remember the way every song goes. I can't recall every person I've met. I get names mixed up all the time. I'm terrible with birthdays. But I remember all the ways people have affected me, how our stories became memories, and if you were brazen enough to make one with me, then you're in there somewhere. Maybe it was a truth or dare kiss, or a simple act of kindness, one that reminded me to remember this moment and mark it as a memory so we could both have it to look back on. From this life, I've drawn conclusions so big they can't fit into the tiny comic book boxes because I don't want to risk losing the details just so I can make this story fit. It's not a trick. I remember how things felt, which in turn makes me remember how things happened. I recall when it finally occurred to me, I'm pretty fantastic. It's not magic. I remember because I make comparisons, not in terms of better or worse, just different. And not all of these memories are great, but they're mine, which lends weight to the belief that none of our lives are put together on an assembly line. We're not pre-packaged with memories or programmed with stories. We have to make our own. And they all come batteries not included. Amid the endless opportunities we have daily, seldom do we take the time necessary to pause, to stop, to record, rewind, and press play. In our own way, we are all ghetto blasters at top volume. We consume silence with noise, speakers pounding at our heartbeats as we write refund receipts for the broken eardrums of people who could hear us live. We give of ourselves time. Precious because its quality is limited only by your ability to live within it. Put yourself into every second of every minute and you will have a life worth remembering. Just because we don't have forever doesn't mean we have to live our lives moving towards the end as if on a conveyor belt. I've felt nothing short of astonished when people ask me, how do you memorize all that? The fact of the matter is, it's not a trick. There's no thick curtain you need to pull away. No little old man making it all work from behind a locked door. You yourself probably remember before when I told you that near a black hole, time slows. Inside a black hole is where I wanted to grow tomatoes.